Mike's up here, Mike's up here, Mike's up here. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the NFL Draft. This is the pre-draft here. Obviously, we're going to break down, get a bit of a breakdown here. We haven't really gotten too much into a breakdown here of the NFL. Obviously, we got the Carolina Panthers here. Let me just minimize them a little bit here. There we are, there we are. We got the NFL Draft, obviously, here. Coming, obviously tonight here, it's going to be 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, out where I'm at here in the West Coast. So, obviously I'm a Vikings, wearing my purple shirt here today, repping my team very well. We got like the 23rd or 24th pick here, so it'll be interesting to see what my team does here. Obviously, Carolina, do they trade the first pick? Are they going Bryce, Young, C.J. Stroud, or do they go Will Levis? Or do they surprise everybody and just go somewhere else? It'll be remain to see here. It's kind of interesting this draft because you got a lot of teams that have a lot of needs, especially some teams at the top here. Obviously Carolina, and we'll talk about them. And obviously the next team below them is the Texans. Both of these teams definitely need to, maybe solidify getting a, young franchise quarterback here. I mean, is that going to guarantee them success in the season? I don't know, but it seems like in a new direction here, new coaching, you try to get your guy, especially at QB, and especially with Carolina, obviously, they had Cam Newton for a while. It seemed to work for a bit, and then just the other quarterbacks they had there just didn't quite work out there. And then, obviously getting ready Christian McCaffrey and a lot of other players, but there's still some other young players there like Brian Burns, obviously Jeremy Chin, and obviously you got on the defensive side J.C. Horn, and the offensive side obviously on the off season they picked up Miles Sanders, quality running back. Yeah, he's been injured, but he was pretty healthy last season. Helped the Eagles get to the Adam Thielen, who's been a cornerstone for the Minnesota Vikings, as solidifying their passing game as being the slot guy, could really help their passing attack going forward. So to me, Carolina is going to be taking a quarterback, in my opinion. I mean, unless they're just highly on trying to say, hey, fuck it, we're just going to take we're just going to take the best defensive player here to help our defense out here. But I'm still not a buyer on that here. Like I said, I'm a buyer on them picking a quarterback. And in my mind, I think it's got to be Bryce Young. And can I make my case for Bryce Young right now? Yes. But let me take, I'm not getting paid for this. This is Avian water, very good water. But I need to take a sip of this. Okay, I'll make my case for Bryce Young for the starting QB and the number 1 pick here for the Carolina Panthers. First of all, I like Bryce Young. I don't care that he's a little bit smaller than what your typical quarterback size is. I guess that's always been the thing. Size matters. I mean, does it really matter for women? Does it really matter for if you're really big, tall, small? I don't know. I mean, it's the age-old question that's always asked. Does size truly matter here? The bigger the better. The smaller, I don't know. We're not trying to. This is a sports show. This isn't not a sexual education show. I'm not Dr. Ruth. And rest in peace to Jerry Springer. We lost another one here. I mean, what does Jerry Springer have to do with the NFL draft? Well, he was in Memphis, and he Tennessee Titans. So it'll be interesting to see what Tennessee Titans do, and he's from Cincinnati as well. So yeah. That being said, Bryce Young, I believe he has the tools, and I believe he has what I believe. You got to give the kid a chance to progress. Obviously, he's going to have growing pains in the NFL. Like all quarterbacks, they're going to have to learn to adjust. Just, sometimes it's the reads, or it's just, guys just making little mistakes and little adjustments. I mean, sometimes we just want to crucify everybody and, want to just say, well, this person's a bust. I mean, right now the jury's still out on a lot of quarterbacks. Obviously, Zach Wilson, many people can't, we can't quite call him a bust yet, technically, because he's only in his second or third season here. So if he doesn't, obviously he's not gonna make no progression this year because obviously they got Aaron Rodgers. But see, something I didn't get to talk about the other day was if Aaron Rodgers plays 65% of the snaps or more, the Packers' conditional second round pick becomes a first round pick. So does Brett Favre, or not Brett Favre, does Aaron Rodgers be so petty enough to say, well, you know what, I'll play just a little bit under that 65. I'm gonna let Zach Wilson come play in some of these. I mean, would it be so much that Aaron Rodgers would just stick it to him, even though he said his love is always with Green Bay? I mean, how many guys already said that? Their love is where their heart's at. I mean, let's look at LeBron James. He loved Cleveland, but how many times did LeBron James leave Cleveland? I mean, hey, sometimes what you say you love is not quite honestly what you mean is your love. But I think the Carolina Panthers here with the number one pick definitely go Bryce Young. I think he has the tools to be able to help this team, and if you could build around, give him protection, time to develop here. I think Bryce Young fits the mold here and what Carolina wants to do going forward here, especially with a Miles Sanders. Bryce Young ain't gonna have to try to run the ball a lot, and so then you got Adam Thielen, who's a really good slot guy, which could really be a really great safety blanket for Bryce Young, and definitely, like I said, he's a veteran, but he could really be a comfort to this young quarterback here. Like I said, obviously, I don't know what Carolina's taking. Obviously, I'm not in their room. I'm just making the case for my man Bryce Young. Yes, he played high school football out in Southern California. Yeah, I'm a NorCal boy, but I don't have no hatred towards my SoCal brethren. But we got to support our Cali young man. He obviously went and played college football at the University of Alabama under the great Nick Saban here. That he's developed. I mean, Nick Saban's developed and had a lot of great quarterbacks come through Alabama and this and that. And so, Bryce Young is just another one of those guys that he's getting his opportunity. Whether he gets picked number one or wherever he gets picked tonight. I think he's a solid young guy moving forward, and I think I know I'm probably gonna get crucified by a lot of people for this one, but I think he'll be better than Kyler Murray. Okay, mark my words. Mark my words. Bryce Young will be better than Kyler Murray. And like I said, I'm not trying to take shots at Kyler Murray, but this is the man. I mean, you're supposed to be the guy and you're supposed to be the man, but yet you got one of the best wide receivers out there in the game, in DeAndre Hopkins, wanting to get out. I mean, if Kyler Murray was the man or the guy, then dudes wouldn't want me out. These reports and these other things wouldn't come out. Like former teammates, people say, well, they're just salty. And, well, yeah, some people are a little bit salty, but it's a tall tale sign of why, the struggles come upon and why this team isn't progressing or kind of elevating itself. And a lot of times, it gets blamed on the coaching staff, but sometimes the blame has to lie on the players. And the guy and the ones that are supposed to have accountability and especially quarterbacks always take the most accountability on any team for wins and losses. And yet I don't really see Kyler Murray doing that. And for whatever it is, whether he just wants to play video games and or he's not a very good playbook studier guy. I don't know. I just not seeing that progression and not seeing the leadership that comes out of I mean, you look at, like I said, I want to use these quarterbacks as prime examples. You look at you know as far as young quarterbacks, that command. You got Patrick Mahomes, you got Joe Burrow out there. I mean, you just got guys that are they just resonate. Josh Allen. You know, yeah, you just guys. You got Lamar. You got even Jalen Hurts, man. Look, we saw what Jalen Hurts. I mean, he was a big knock. Everybody thought, oh, well, he's just a running back. Well, he's developing his game quite well, in my opinion. They're building around him, and we're gonna see what they do this year here. Obviously, they were Super Bowl runners up, and we're gonna see what they can do this season. But Jalen Hurts is a prime example of a guy that, man, he's progressing. You're seeing this man ascend. You're seeing this man get better. And with Kyler Murray, unfortunately, we're not seeing that. And I just hate to see that because there was so much high hopes and expectations. And and it happens with some of these quarterbacks that go in the first round. I mean, a lot of people, well, you look at Zach Wilson. I mean, you look at Zach Wilson, and he hasn't really done anything, and you wonder why they're bringing in a veteran quarterback, a veteran, one of the really better quarterbacks to play in this game, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it just is a tall tale sign to tell you. I mean, look, we're looking at Trey Lance as the same thing right now. He was a third overall pick, and now, I mean, for whatever it's worth, they're either here, the Niners aren't, they haven't confirmed that they're going to trade the guy, but they're listening. But it's a tall tale sign. And it's troubling that when you pick a player or a quarterback at that level, and then you got, like, for example, you had Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, Mr. Last pick of the last year's 2022 draft, and it's always the catch 22 sometimes. You think you want to get the best quarterback, you want to take them in the first round, but how many guys in the first round have actually panned out to be really quality superstar Hall of Fame legend quarterbacks? Not too many. Obviously, you look at fucking Tom Brady, he was a 7th round pick, okay? You look at and it's no knock, but some guys are just they they are who we thought they are. And I mean, it comes with the territories. So yeah, I look at Carolina is a team right now. I mean, they need a quarterback here, but that's I want to see Carolina here. We're gonna see what Carolina here. Like if we were to put ourselves on the board here. And some projections here. Let's see some. All right. All right. So I got this right up here. Let me minimize these a little bit here. Push that over the corner. This up here. All right. All right. Sorry, we're gonna probably cover my face a bit here, but I'll try to do the best I can. Okay, so we're looking at here is what they this is the ESPN here. Sorry, I mean I could go to NFL.com or Pro Fantasy Football here, Hall of Fame or Focus. And what we're looking at here is we're looking at Bryce Young here. We're looking at Bryce Young's player projection here. Okay. He has a 41.8% of being a Pro Bowler. He has 39% being a starter, 15.5% being a backup, 3.4% being a replacement, and 0.3% being a non-factor. And we look at this here. If you look at Bryce Young, he's 5'10". Okay, yeah, it's a little small, but he's 204. So for a small guy, he's got a pretty good size. 204 is pretty good size. So it's not like he's 5'10" and he's some scrawny old dude. You know, his arms are 30.5 inches. His hands are 9.75. So and his wingspan is 73.5. So he can cover the grounds quite well. Cover the grounds quite well here. So we're looking. That was So we're looking at that's Bryce Young here. Let's check out C.J. Stroud's. We're looking at the quarterbacks right now. C.J. Stroud, he's a big 6'3", 214. So he's actually he's about like 10 pounds bigger or heavier, and quite a few inches taller. And he's got bigger hands, and he's got a bigger wingspan, and he's got bigger arms here. So obviously, C.J. Stroud is more of the typical guy. He's 28.9% being a Pro Bowler, 42% being a starter, 22.9% being a backup, 5.4% being a replacement, and basically being a non-factor. So yeah, like I said, C.J. Stroud here going, definitely. Like I said, I feel like the Texans. I feel like he fits more of the Texans mold here, what the Texans want to do. Plus, the Texans got a solid running back in Dameon Pierce, and they just, if they can get some of the some receivers down there, and obviously they got Dalton Schultz down there, so they got tight ends, so they can solidify that line a bit here. I think they got a recipe. Their defense is young. They've got some young pieces that we seen last season actually shine. So it's gonna be curious to see. And obviously DeMeco Ryans was drafted there, and now he's the head coach. So DeMeco Ryans is gonna be really looking at that second pick. Either you could trade down if they don't really want to take C.J. Stroud. But yeah, I feel like I feel like I'm making my case for C.J. Stroud being the Texans because I feel like he'd be the better fit at quarterback for what I think they're going to try to do with the Texans. See, again, here I'm just looking at it from a lens of this and that, okay? You want a quarterback that's going to be able to be, obviously, he's a tall guy, 6'3", 214. Okay, you look at Trevor Lawrence in this. He's what 6'4", 6'5", 2 something, And then you got, whoever the Colts decide that they're going to draft, maybe out of either. And then, obviously Tennessee's got Ryan Tannehill, he's mobile. He's obviously, but he's old. He's older. And then they got Malik Willis, which they haven't really developed too much, and he's obviously more of the smaller kind of, guy who's more thinner, more of a so. But they have, CJ Stroud's not gonna have to really run all that much because you got Damian Pierce and then you got another running back, so he wouldn't have to, you could do a lot more wrinkles, and I think he bodes well with the passing attack with a young team, and then you can develop around him. But I feel like CJ, helps these guys out a lot, and that's why I like him being the second pick here. But they're asking, is CJ Stroud the right pick at number 2 for the Texans? I mean, in my opinion, you don't have a quarterback. So if you're not going to take a quarterback and you go defense, I mean, they could, they could say, well, you know what, we want to solidify the defense first with this first number 2 pick, and then hey, we'll figure out, if Anthony Richardson's left or Will Levis is left, and maybe they just we just don't know. We're over here prognosticating. We're over here just trying to guess, and we're just trying to, what we all feel is our best. And I like to say, there's no wrong answers for anybody, to say right at this moment. For all we know, there could be a bunch of trades. Some of these teams could trade down, and maybe somebody else wants to get a quarterback or somebody. Just it's gonna be, like I said, this draft is quite honestly gonna be the most interesting one because you don't know, because some teams might actually trade down a few picks just to get a few more picks just so they can't, if they realize that, hey, their guy's there, or they can get their guy later on, and somebody else is willing to, offer up some more picks or whatever, and you're a team that needs, is hurting, and as far as cap and needs, then yeah, I think you definitely got to, take some offers and look at the offers and see if, they're worth taking. But yeah, CJ Stroud here, I mean, and then you have Anthony Richards here. Look at they think similar players. See, look at they're trying to compare him to Cam Newton, RG3, Andrew Luck, and Marcus Mariota, which in my opinion is not fair to Anthony Richardson. And believe you me, I'm I'm like, that's just, let me tell you, if anything, this Gator helmet has gone through the ringers. I need to, clean it up a bit here. It's definitely, it's got war wounds on it here. But Florida Gators, I got to see a lot of Anthony Richardson, and to me, I'm not sold on Anthony Richardson, but do I believe that he can't be developed into a good quarterback and actually be a viable quarterback here in the NFL? I think he can. If the right team, obviously, if he gets the right team, the right staff, and the right can put him in the right situation, and it doesn't always work that way for some players. And some players have to go through the bumps and bruises and have to learn, and you have to just adjust, and so Anthony Richardson, in my opinion, here, if you're a team, and I know there's some teams that want to take a flight on him, obviously like Seattle, or like I say, the Ravens, or maybe somebody else, like I said, or like if you're the Texans, maybe Anthony Richardson can slip a little bit here. Maybe you say, well, hell, we'd rather take him later on, and then you pick. I mean, but it's the tall tale signs of the quarterback. Okay, he's 6'4", he's 244. So he legitimately here is a big tall guy. Okay, he's 244. So he's not like So he's going to be able to take hits, okay? But you don't want him to take hits because in the NFL, taking hits is a lot more harder to get up from than taking a hit in college. Not saying guys in the college are a bunch of wussy pantses, but guys in the pro, these are the best, and these guys come out here and they out here and they lay the licks. They lay the war wounds out here. You know, so Anthony Richardson.
Put the new ones in there, so I took the other ones out. The beers in the freezer.
Yeah, but then you got number 3, the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals go defense here at number 3. I don't know. I'm just, you know. Let's look. I wonder if we can look at see the teams, what their teams need here. Okay. Well, that's all right. All right. So let's see here. If you're the Cardinals, you need defensive end, defensive tackle, cornerback, running back, and offensive guard here. So obviously, at number 3, the Cardinals have the number 3 pick in the first round, the only pick they have. Then they have 1 in the second round. Then they have 2 in the third round. They have 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, and 2 in the sixth. None in the seventh here. So yeah. So you know, if we're looking at Carolina's needs here, defensive ends, defensive tackles, cornerback, a running back, and offensive guard. So obviously, you know, the Cardinals are kind of need some defense. They lost some defensive players. Obviously, J.J. Watt retiring. Obviously, losing Budda Baker. I mean, they you know, it's they lost some key players on that defense. And Brian Murphy, obviously, he went to the Minnesota Vikings. We got him. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised here. Like I said, I think Arizona takes Willie Anderson, the defensive end. I think he fits well. And the Cardinals are going to need some defense because obviously, you know. And I mean, I don't think you necessarily need to go offensive guard here. I think they can definitely get one in the second or third round here. But definitely, I can see the Cardinals going, you know, defensive end. I mean, surprisingly, maybe they go, you know, cornerback. You know, maybe they're the first team that takes a cornerback off the. But you know, I'm looking at them at taking a defensive end here. Like I said, Will Anderson here from Alabama. All right, so look, we're looking at Carolina. Carolina's needs are quarterback, receiver, defensive end, in linebacker, and offensive guard here. So obviously Carolina's got the first pick. They have a pick in the second round. They have a pick in the third round. They have 2 fourth-round picks and a fifth. So only six draft picks here. So, like I said, I feel that Carolina, if they stay here with number 1, they're taking the quarterback here. And then I think maybe they look defensive end, linebacker in the second round here. Maybe you could pick up a receiver in the third. Same thing with the offensive lineman. So yeah. Alright, then we got the Texans here. The Texans, they have 2 first-round picks, the number 2 pick and the number 12 pick here. They also have 1 pick in the second round. They have 2 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth. They have 3 in the sixth round and 1 in the seventh. Or 2 in the seventh here. So they need a quarterback, they need a receiver, they need a defensive end, offensive guard, and a cornerback here. Like I said, obviously they're going to, whether the number 2 pick is on a, you know, quarterback, number 12 pick here, I think they either go defensive end or they could go surprisingly quarterback, or maybe just maybe they take the first receiver. Maybe they take C.J. Stroud and they take his receiver at 2 and 12. I don't know. Remains to be seen. I'm just throwing it out there. Not saying that it's quite possibly that they're going to do that, but all right. Let's look at the Indianapolis Colts here. The Colts here, they need a quarterback as well. They need a cornerback. In the secondary, they need an offensive guard, they need a safety, and they need an outside linebacker. So the Colts have only one pick in the first round. They have a pick in the second, they have a pick in the third, one in the fourth, three in the fifth, and none in the sixth, and two in the seventh here. So, like I said, I think who's ever left out of the who doesn't get picked between Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, I think you see the Colts taking maybe Anthony Richards, or I could see the Colts taking Will Levis here. I feel like but I think if you have an Anthony Richards with a Jonathan Taylor here, that helps a lot here. Because you can do a lot of maybe read option here. Maybe Richardson, can run a little bit and saves Jonathan Taylor a bit here. But, it depends on, like I said, how things shake down here. Obviously, I think the Cardinals don't take a quarterback here. And then once we go up here, we see that we have the Detroit Lions. We have the Lions up here. Lions need defensive tackle, defensive end, inside linebacker, tight end, and running back. I see definitely the Lions taking defensive tackle Jalen Carter from Georgia here. I feel like they got their guy last year, and Aiden Hutchinson. I feel like they need to get him a tag team partner in the pit. And I feel like Jalen Carter fits that for them, and in that division that now, is pretty much up for grabs. Now that Aaron Rodgers is gone, Minnesota Vikings, we lost some steam. And obviously the Bears are starting to rebuild and starting to shape up here a bit here with Justin Fields. And Detroit had a good season last season. And obviously, it's a big blow with the whole gambling thing came out here. So that's kind of a big blow. And so we're definitely gonna see, and obviously losing Jamal Williams, I think that's gonna be a big blow on their offense. It's gonna hurt them a lot here. So they have 2 picks in the first round, one at number 6, and they have one at number 18. So maybe defensive tackle, and then maybe depending on what is available for linebacker or defensive end, or maybe they're the first team that takes a tight end off the board here. They got 2 first-round picks, they got 2 second-round picks, a third, they got 2 fifth-rounds, and 2 sixth-round picks here. So that they're sitting very, very, very well here. Got Atlanta here. Atlanta needs defensive edge rusher, wide receiver, a cornerback, a quarterback, and defensive tackle. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I could see Atlanta, depending on the situation, who's available at number 8. I could see them quite possibly being the first team, maybe to take a cornerback off the board here. Like I said, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. We have the draft cast here. And the Colts, we got Seattle. Seattle at 5 here. Carolina's on the clock here. So, yeah, see, they say the best available here is Bryce Young. They said best fit is Tyree Wilson here, 6'6", 271 here. Defense at end here. Yeah, could be. I mean, they pair him with Brian Burns, or like I said, I don't know. Maybe Brian Burns is not even on that team anymore. For all I know, it's just gotta be tough. Gotta be tough. So. Gonna be definitely, like I said, definitely gonna be tough here to break it down. But yeah, like I said, we might even be back here for when the draft really does go live here. But yeah, we're just trying to break it down here as far as I can, as far as I can break it down. But